Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and it's time to talk about The Walking Dead. Okay, so I have to say, I think this half of the season, maybe they got the hint that people weren't happy with the last half, because for the most part, it's so much better. You guys know I wasn't the biggest fan of the first episode after the break, but the last episode I really enjoyed, and for the most part, I really enjoyed this episode. I don't know what's going on. It's weird. For a while, it was like, I like the concept of The Walking Dead, but I'm not really enjoying the episodes that much. But now I am, so that's a good thing. I'm really happy about that. We have some serious things to discuss this episode. Serious as in plot-wise, not serious as in like, I don't know what I'm going to do. But then we also have some things that are still really freaking annoying in this series. I don't know why they do that, especially in this episode. Some of the things were just like, that had no bearing on anything, and it was in there and didn't make any sense. But let's talk about the good stuff first, all right? So basically, the whole point of this episode was to meet the new settlement, the other community, and to learn more about Negan. So, meeting the new community, that's a good thing. Obviously, we need to expand and do things like that in order to progress the plot. There's going to be more people out there, so apparently now zombies aren't even really an issue. It's just going to be people, because they can take on a whole herd, but I'm sure it'll come back to zombies at some point. But for this one, I did feel a little weird going into this new community. Why did they send everybody? Almost everybody. That seemed like, if it was a setup, that would have been devastating. Truly 100% absolutely devastating to our group, to Alexandria. So that was really weird. I know they ended up doing it so that they could have that fight scene, but that also, we'll get into that. So that was weird, right? Like, don't send all of your main people except for one, Carol, who apparently is off doing something else. I guess she probably had like a movie role or something she's been busy on, because we haven't seen her for like 5 or 6 episodes. Not really. Well, more like 4, I guess. Anyway, so they meet up with the new group, and that's cool. The whole Jesus dynamic, I like the character personally. I think he's going to be a good guy. I don't know about the comics, and they don't follow them 100% anyway, so I think he's going to end up being a good guy. Most likely part of Rick's group and the whole other new group. I think they're going to end up not existing, at least as far as we're concerned. Maybe here and there, but anyway, we'll see about that. So they get to this new community and they meet this Gregory guy who is apparently in charge and who is apparently a total dick. That guy never plays a good guy, first of all. So as soon as he opened the door, I'm like, okay, here's another governor type character. He's going to be some kind of jerk, some kind of annoying bad guy that we're not going to like. And I'm not sure that's the case, but I'm not sure it's not. He's clearly a jerk. Even Jesus doesn't like him very much. But at this point, he's not going to be the problem we have to deal with. So I guess that's okay. I was really excited once he got stabbed, because I'm thinking, good, they got rid of that guy right away. We don't have to worry about him anymore. We're good, but he's back. So we'll see about that. But because of this whole interaction, we end up having this fight between our group and some of the people from the new group, which I thought was totally contrived, totally weird. Just because that guy, who we don't know anything about, we being Rick's group, stabbed Gregory, who we really don't know much about, Rick decides to take it upon himself to just pummel the guy senseless, which made no sense, really. Plus, Rick had a gun on him, so all he had to do was draw his gun and say, whoa, hold on, what's going on here? Are you a good guy? Are you a bad guy? What? But no, instead he runs up and starts beating the guy, which didn't make any sense at all. And then the rest of our group, they kind of had to react to Rick, so it's basically this brawl going on. It ends up going well for our guys, but Rick murders a guy, and the other people get beat up, and Daryl's awesome and breaks the guy's arm. So that's cool, but the whole thing was like, why? You just met these people, and you're fighting for them without having any information at all. That was really, really weird. Really weird. And I know they did it so that they could show that they could fight, and that they could take on Negan's group, maybe. But that wouldn't have happened in real life. Rick's group would not have just jumped in and started fighting and or killing people without having any information. Even in this show, it shouldn't have happened. I mean, consistence-wise, is that whatever. It just didn't really make that much sense. but it set up the premise for them saying, look, we can fight, you can't, we'll go take care of Negan. I just wish they would have done it in a more realistic way. So let's talk about this whole Negan thing. We're assuming that Daryl's right, we being the Rick group again, not the audience, that Daryl's right, that Negan's group is mostly talk, like a boogeyman story, and not actually a real threat. If that's the case, then it makes sense for Rick or for everybody to decide to go fight them. That's a big if. If it's a real group of guys who can fight and have weapons and stuff, this is a huge risk, like so risky. And I know they especially with the part where Rick's giving the speech in the church saying we need to go do this either way. Maybe, but this seems awfully gung-ho for potentially killing everybody off. I mean, as far as they're concerned, it could be horrible. They could walk in there and get massacred. So, and they also don't know, maybe this guy, Gregory, is working with Negan all along, and he sends new people that they meet to Negan for this purpose, and then Negan takes all their stuff. I mean, it's way too risky. There's too many variables, so I'm highly concerned from a character standpoint for them. From a plot standpoint, I think it's going to be okay because we're going to have a lot of story to deal with this. That'll be interesting, and some action and some spycraft maybe, or whatever we have. It's going to be interesting, but I don't know if it's a great choice for them. So I guess we'll see how that goes. I'm curious what you guys think about that. Okay, so now we already kind of touched on this by talking about the fight with Rick, how it didn't really make any sense. Let's just talk about things in this series as a whole that bug me, and I think they should bug everyone else because it detracts from the series, which is mostly a good, high-quality series. So when they were in the van, in the caravan driving toward the new settlement, and Jesus was guiding them, presumably, to this place, all of a sudden, Rick's just driving along, going normal speed, then all of a sudden, the car stops, the vehicle stops, and he's in this giant mud pit. Like, he didn't see that? He didn't see the giant mud pit? And also, he just drove right into it. So, that was weird. That made no sense. Keep your eyes on the road a little bit. I mean, it was huge. When they cut back, once they were outside of the van, they kind of panned back a little bit. You could see it was like a giant mud pit. He just drove right into it, which makes no sense. And then after he gets it stuck, Jesus looks out the window and says, "Don't worry, we're here anyway." And right in front, once they get outside again, right in front of the van, it's this giant wall. Rick didn't see that either. I mean, it was just, and it didn't have any bearing on anything because later on the van's just out. No big deal. So it wasn't even like it was just bad writing for the sake of plot progression. It was just a weird 5-minute scene that made no sense, didn't add anything. It was just weird. Did anybody else notice that? Like, why? Take that 5 minutes out of that. Just have them pull up like normal. They could have still gotten out and talked to the people with the spears, which was a really good scene because Daryl's awesome, right? That was really good. When Daryl, basically every time Daryl talks, it makes the episode better. They really need to have more Rick and Daryl time, and even Abraham. I really enjoy his character, and I think if all goes well, I don't want Maggie to die, but if she happens to die and Glenn turns into like a total cold badass, that would be good too. Get like the main 4 guys right there. I think that'd be cool. Anyway, so it's just weird to have things like that with like the van stopping in the mud. Take that 5 minutes and put it toward more character development. Maybe have Rick not punch Gregory, but something rather than just have Gregory be a dick to everybody. Like, we have guns, you have food. Yeah, food's important, but if we wanted to, we could take everything. So stop being a dick. Stop saying this is mine. I built this when clearly you're just a guy at the desk. So I don't know. That whole thing was like, they could have used their time more wisely rather than having the van get stuck in the mud for no reason at all and have Rick completely blind to mud and giant walls and everything else. So, I don't know. But overall, good episode. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to see what we have going forward. This whole Negan thing, I think, will come to a head very soon. At least we'll have a spike in the tension, I think, very soon. So that'll be cool. I'm curious to see how that plays out because, like I said, I don't know about the comics, and we don't know how accurate it's going to be to the comics anyway, so it'll be interesting. Let me know what you guys think about all of this stuff, and we'll talk in the comments, and then I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.